For months, the world assumed Iran couldn't defend its own skies. Stealth jets flew in, bombs dropped, jets flew out, and Iran could do nothing to stop them. That assumption just shattered because in the last 48 hours, Iran activated a classified, undisclosed air defense system that nobody saw coming, and then made one of the most staggering military claims in recent memory, that it struck the USS Abraham Lincoln, one of the most powerful warships ever built by the United States Navy. If even a fraction of this is true, the entire strategic map of this conflict just changed. Welcome to Daily Reports, where you get clear, reliable, and up-to-date coverage of global events. To understand what happened in the last 24 hours, you need to understand the state of play leading into it. The conflict between Israel and Iran, which has drawn in American military assets, reshaped Gulf security dynamics, and destabilized energy markets globally, has entered a new and deeply unpredictable phase. Negotiations are not happening. Let's be precise about that. There are efforts toward negotiation. Intermediaries are carrying messages, proposals are being floated, and diplomatic channels that were closed a year ago are technically open again. But there is no ceasefire. There is no agreed framework, and as long as there is no ceasefire, the war continues. Both sides know this, and both sides are acting accordingly. The United States has significant military assets positioned across the Middle East. Multiple carrier strike groups, air wings, marine expeditionary forces, and enormous logistical and intelligence infrastructure built up over decades in the Gulf region. Israel, meanwhile, is conducting sustained air operations, targeting what it describes as Iranian military production capacity, weapons stockpiles, and command infrastructure. And Iran, despite having absorbed significant damage to its physical infrastructure and having lost key military figures in the course of this conflict, has continued to demonstrate a capacity to respond in ways that have genuinely surprised Western defense analysts. But nothing has been quite as surprising as what emerged in the last 48 hours. Two assumptions that underpinned the entire Western military calculus about this conflict have now been called directly into question. And when assumptions that are foundational to military strategy turn out to be wrong, the consequences can be severe, fast, and very hard to manage. Cast your mind back to the early months of this conflict. One of the defining features, one of the reasons Israeli and American planners felt the degree of operational confidence they expressed publicly, was the assessment that Iran lacked any meaningful air defense capability. This wasn't speculation, it was based on observed behavior. Strike after strike was conducted over Iranian territory. Advanced aircraft, including some of the most sophisticated in the American and Israeli inventory, entered Iranian airspace, completed their missions, and returned to base. Iranian anti-aircraft fire was largely ineffective. Surface-to-air missile systems that Iran was known to possess performed poorly or not at all. The operational conclusion was stark. Iran's skies were, for practical purposes, open. Iran could project force outward through missiles, drones, and proxy networks, but it could not protect its own territory from aerial assault. That assessment shaped everything: the tempo of operations, the target selection, the risk calculations, the public confidence of officials on both sides. Then Al Jazeera reported something that stopped military analysts mid-sentence. Iran had activated an air defense system, not an upgraded version of what it already had, something different, something new, something that, according to multiple sources, nobody in the Western intelligence community had confirmed the existence of, let alone its deployment status. The specifications of the system remain unknown. Whether it originated from Russia, from China, from an undisclosed bilateral arrangement, or from Iran's own advanced indigenous development program, nobody is publicly saying. What is being said is this: it is highly advanced, it was deliberately concealed, and it is now operational. And the results are already visible in the conflict data. Iranian sources with Al Jazeera and other outlets beginning to corroborate are reporting engagements involving F-35 aircraft, then F-15s, then F-16s, and now the most significant claim, an F-18 downed. Think about what that progression means.
The F-35 is America's most advanced tactical aircraft. It was specifically designed to be invisible to radar systems. Stealth is its core design philosophy. The fact that Iranian sources are claiming to have targeted it at all, regardless of whether those claims are fully verified, means that either the system's stealth capabilities have been overcome, or Iran has acquired a sensor or detection methodology that changes the equation. The F-15 and F-16 are legacy platforms, but still highly capable and among the most battle-proven aircraft in the world. The F-18 is a carrier-based aircraft, which matters enormously, as we will discuss in a moment. Cause: Iran secretly deploys an advanced, undisclosed air defense system. Effect: aircraft that were operating with assumed impunity are now being engaged. Consequence: the foundational premise that Israel and the United States can sustain unlimited air operations over Iran at minimal risk is no longer valid. The second assumption that has collapsed is equally significant. There was a widely shared belief, more than a belief really, it was treated as a structural fact, that American military assets in the Middle East were effectively beyond the reach of Iranian retaliation. Israel's multi-layered missile defense architecture, Iron Dome for short-range threats, David's Sling for medium-range, Arrow and Arrow 3 for ballistic missiles at altitude, supplemented by American Patriot batteries, was described as the most comprehensive air defense network ever assembled, and American bases in the Gulf, while not invisible, were protected by their own substantial defensive infrastructure and by the deterrent effect of American power itself. The logic was Iran would not dare strike a U.S. base directly because the response would be catastrophic, and even if it tried, the defensive systems in place would intercept the threat before it arrived. That logic has been tested, and it has not held perfectly.